The first question is, can I sell my business? Well, in the reality of our world and in the transactional world, you are considered what we call a service-based business, okay? Service-based businesses are anyone that is literally providing service. So dentists, doctors, attorneys, financial planners, service-based contracts, consultants, engineering firms, service-based, okay? Service-based businesses are the easiest business to start. It's the lowest barrier to entry. Anyone can leave your company and go, hey, I'm a sheet metal guy now. For me, all my guys always wanted to be a GC. Everyone that I trained that was any good decided he'd go out and be his next GC. So in a service-based industry, whether you're a dentist or a doctor or an engineer, the challenge is that the best people that you have and the best people that could transition into your work often will be going out. You're a fish farm and you're training them to go out on their own. So regardless of that, that makes the number of buyers more difficult, okay? Number two is because you are service-based, you are labor-driven. So your ability to scale has much more to do with your ability to hire qualified workers. So it's a fact that if you were selling any type of product, a widget, that's a very different. If you do an IP, that's a little differently. There's a lot of difference. So you guys are service-based, okay? Our biggest challenge in valuing your business and determining if we can sell it is the third button here. And I need to know how much of your business is you and how much of your business is its business. You're gonna tell me you're making all this money, we got all these great people, but how much of it is that your value as the owner and how much of it is with the business? So when you leave, what am I really buying? Okay? The key in every one of these slides is you have to turn your hat around and think about it as a buyer. Okay? I have an opportunity. I can buy your business. I can go buy real estate. I can go buy stock. I can leave it into mutual funds. I can do what I want to do. So you have to convince me to take my money and invest it into you. And so if you agree with where Tesla is going, and you agree with the owner, or you agree that Apple will survive beyond its founder after he passes away, then you will invest in that type of business. Well, in your business, it really matters. And for us to understand and separate out your value as an owner, this is for all service. I don't care if you're an attorney. Our biggest challenge would be a dentist. Okay, I sold a dental practice. This guy named his business, it would be like John Overham Dentistry. And I'd go to Joe, hey Joe, you wanna buy my business? It's called John Overham Dentistry. I'm killing it. I'm making 500 grand, it's easy, I got great people, I got great equipment. And you're like, this is John Overham Dentistry. What happens when you leave and I'm now Joe Isom? You know, they're used to me. They want me. So the ability to sell my business for that dentist was a challenge. And we just had to discount the revenue so much because we didn't know how much was gonna transfer over because so many people have very personal relationships with their dentist. Okay, you're in construction, but I'm referring to the service-based industry as a whole, okay? There are also what we call a business exit index. So depending on these pockets, these are areas that we will focus on the strengths and weaknesses of your business. So some people are really good operationally, some people have really good financials, some people have really good sales, some people have some legal. For you, this legal would be your defined benefit plan. That unfunded defined benefit plan obligation, it will always be a conversation in your company. We can get around it, you can get around it, but it's still part of a conversation. But I want to be clear, that is not the stumbling block in selling your business. It's been sold, they will be sold, I've sold them, you can transaction over it, you can value out of it. That's not our problem. That is one piece, but not all of it. So that would be a legal issue that you would have. And then, taxes, right? Everybody wants to know what are the tax consequences. Because you guys, and me, as an entrepreneur, I don't really care about how much I make. I want to know what I get in my pocket. Because nothing ticks me off more than all the money I make, and I got to freaking write 50% of it to the stupid government. Watch them go screw it up. So I'm not a real fan of taxes. And I care about cash, not so much about what my sales are. Okay. The number one thing when someone says, can you sell my business? My first question to you is, what does that mean? What is the win? Do you just want to wash your hands clear and get rid of and not have any liabilities? Because I've worked with a few union shops, and the owner's like, I got enough money retired, I just don't want any liabilities. I want to swing on my porch, and I just want out, okay? I've got a 10-year tail. If I'm a construction company, I've got this unfunded liability. I'm good, okay? Someone might say, I want to sell it to my child. I've got a key employee. I want to set up an ESOP. I want to sell it to the highest bidder. I have an offer in my hand. I want to know if it's any good. Whatever your individual exit is going to be, we have to determine that first before we can even decide whether or not we can sell it. Because most business owners are not realistic, okay? Not that any of you don't think your children are rock stars. I'm just telling you, I've been coaching my little kids in Little League, and it's amazing watching these parents think that their kid is an awesome pitcher when that kid couldn't hit a fence with a shotgun, and they're bugging me that I'm not putting them on the pitching mound. I am telling you guys, your perspective of your children is the same as your perspective of your business. You can't hit a freaking broadside of a barn with a shotgun if you think I could sell your business the way you guys are running it. But you got to be honest with yourselves, and that's where the reality kind of comes in. So the goal is be realistic and understand, where we are. We're going to talk about the valuation. Everyone wants to know what's the business value, and we're going to dive into a little deep. The key piece here is your risk. When you guys are looking at getting out of your business, what's the risk of me or someone next to you wanting to buy your business? You need to think about how to mitigate that risk, okay? Generally, when a business owner, and I'm guilty of it, that's why I'm telling you, I was looking at it from my perspective. Look what I've done, look what I've built, this is what I've made, everything I've done, I deserve this, okay? I cannot tell you how many business owners have told me that they have this phenomenal goodwill because they've got a great location or they got a great product. They're not making any money. They're actually losing money. They don't have any good management in place. They're working 60 hours a week, but they're like, I have a lot of goodwill. Negative, ghostwriter, that is not true. The pattern is full. It's not gonna happen, okay? So you guys have to, you have to understand it's all about risk. A buyer's buying risk. Imagine yourselves buying a real estate property, buying something, and your first step is, what's the risk of getting my money back out? And you have to think from a buyer's perspective, okay? That's the key piece in what we're dealing with, okay? The timing. Just talked to an attorney yesterday. Hey, brother and sister are suing each other. They're 50-50 owners. It's going to implode. I'm calling for a shareholders meeting. We've got a court-appointed board member to add to the board to help do, and we're going to, on the 17th of April, I'm going to call for a liquidation. Okay, so why are you calling me? I mean, it's freaking April 1st, right? It's like, well, I was told that you could help maybe bring a buyer in and help sell the business. It's a construction company, right? Brother, sister fighting over this thing. They're in a big old battle. You want me to sell your business in 15 days with a company that's in a full street fight in construction. That's what you're calling me, Mr. Attorney, because one of my friends referred me to you. Tell me who referred me. I'll be right back to you, okay? Like, seriously, that's not the lead I'm looking for, but thank you. So I said, there's not a chance. It's not going to happen, okay? And on the other side, some of you said, I want to exit in 10 years, okay? The average answer is 5 years. So pretty much everyone says, I want to get out in 5 years. And then every year you just say 5 years, okay? Just kind of, it's just kind of, it's like a safe number. And I wanted to, it's like, oh, that's pretty close. I gotta get nervous here. But 5, yeah, 5, that sounds good. It's been 2 years since you said, yeah, I'm probably still 5 out then, I think, 10 is like, that's a safety. That's like throwing a lob ball. Like 10, that's so finally have to worry about it, right? So yeah, most people kind of say I'm 5, and you guys were pretty much in that realm. You guys your average was 4 to 8 in the responses that I got. And the reason why is that's a safe place. It's a safe place because you don't really know what your plan is. You don't really know if you have enough money to do so. You don't want to carve the time out today. And you're kind of figuring, I don't know, that sounds like a good idea, 5 years. I'll be 60, I'll be 65. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea, okay? There are 10,000 people turning 60 every day for the next 15 years of the baby boomers. 10,000. I'm in a great spot. Love my location. The problem is there are more millennials than there are baby boomers. which you would think would be awesome. Millennials do not want your business. You're just letting you know if you haven't read their ADD stories. I mean, these guys have an attention span of about 15 seconds, you know? I'd have half of you guys all looking at your phones. If you were like 20, you'd be like, oh, I gotta Snapchat this one, you know? Hey, really? So, you know, your industry, it's a challenge, you know? We've got to deal with the timing. 10 years safe, 1 year's tight. Depending on when you want to get out, then I'll let you know. So here's things that I think you guys need to know. Let me see where I am on my timing. Okay. So I'm going to send you the slide deck. You guys don't have to take notes. I'll send you the slide deck so you can have it, and you guys can always call me, send me emails or questions. But basically, here are some 10 things I really want you to do. First of all, you got to know your walkaway number. When you say I want to leave my business and I want to get out, what does that mean? Does that mean I get $1 million? So one of my owners said, hey, I want to get out and I want $2 million. I said, okay. Is that pre-tax or post-tax? I picked post. No, that wasn't the question. I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying, what were you thinking when you said that? I'm thinking after tax would be good. I go, well, I just doubled our sales price, so thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It's really important that you know your number, okay? It's also the education out there, it's really bad. The internet there's really not a lot of information on how to get out of your business. When I sold my business 10 years ago, it's a bunch of crap online. And the problem is that when you're in a business, and we're gonna call this revenues below 30 million, and I'm gonna call your net profit below 2 million, somewhere for that $500,000, $2 million, that hole is a really big void, okay? It's a really tough, and we're gonna talk about it. But the reality is that professional services aren't really out there. That's why I have filled that niche, because I'm just so passionate about trying to help. Because so many of them don't sell. So many of them hand them to their kids or hand them to somebody else or do a transition or liquidate. And that's okay, but you still an exit. I'd still like to know how to do it with a limited amount of tax and a limited amount of risk. How do you get it? Find it, research it, do your best, okay? Get your books straight. Now, I'm an accountant, all right? So I'm just gonna tell you, get your books right. No debits where there's supposed to be credits and credits were supposed to be debits. Okay, get a WIP schedule that actually works, okay? Get your balance sheet that actually ties. Make sure they tie to your tax return. These are kind of basic 101s that I think at your size companies you should be at, but make sure that your books are straight, because there's nothing worse than me as a buyer mitigating risk to go look at your numbers and say, how did you do it? I had a client and he put $1 million on his balance sheet for IP. I said, well, that's interesting. What do you have for IP? He goes, well, that's how much I've spent over the years, you know, on building out my website and doing all this other work. So, well, that was an expense. That's not something, yeah, but I thought it'd make my balance sheet look better. No, it makes you look stupid. Like what's the other side of your journal entry? And he looked at me and said, I don't know, that's what my wife said. I was like, oh, sweet. You're an ideal client. I get these great referrals. You know, it's important, you guys, you gotta know your numbers, you gotta make them look right, you gotta make yourself dispensable, okay? Wagon wheel, bad, okay? You guys, the more that you're involved in the business, triangle, good, we'll talk about it. Your employees, you're in a service-based business, okay? It's key, your second tier level management, you need to have good managers in place. You gotta have people embracing it, you gotta have years of experience. If I can go in and say, I've got my 3-4 top managers have been with me for 10 years and they're rock solid, way more comfortable than, yeah, my CFO turns over every year. You know, I haven't had a PM for more than twice, and that was my brother and my sister, and they're no longer here, so we're like, okay, thank you for your time, right? It's really important. Benchmark your company. It's really important to see where the trends are in your industry. Customers. If, in a simplicity's sake, if you have one customer and Amazon is your one customer, or Costco is your one customer, and you're killing it with $10 million of revenue, I can't sell your business. Just telling you, okay? Because if Costco changes, and they will change, I don't have a business anymore. You have $1 million, $10 million customers, you have $100,000 customers, more customers, the better, okay? Team, potential buyers, it's always great to know who you want to sell to. If you're going to try to sell it to an outside third party or inside. And then, you know what, clean your stuff up, okay? I mean, you guys have probably more crap around your place that we don't need. that you just say you're going to save it for a rainy day, or we want to have it just in case, that's fine, but make it clean. Emotions. This is the reality. It is way more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I thought, that's my kid, he's going to college, he'll be fine. I was kind of sad when I went by, saw his bedroom. When I said, it's my business, I designed to sell, I'm going to sell it, I'm out of here. It was hard. It was harder than I thought. And it's really important that you guys understand that the selling process is not going to be simple. And I will tell you now, and I'm going to bring it up again, your emotional process of going through this is what blows all the deals. It's not your numbers, it's not your key employees, it's the emotional reactions to how things are handled that blow just about all the deals, okay? 7 deadly sins, I will tell you every one of my deals is blown because of this, okay? Every one, I can do it. So I'm going to read these to you. The lust, intense, uncontrolled desire, general term for desire, it could include uncontrolled desire for money, fame, and power, okay? Gluttony, the overindulgence or overconsumption of anything to the point of waste. Power, control, decisions, directions. I don't know if that sounds like any of you guys. Probably not you, right? But these are straight issues. Come on, 7 deadly. There you are. Where's my metal mouse? Here we go. Greed. Okay, just like lust and gluttony, it's a sin of excess. Greed is applied to the excessive or desire pursuit of material possessions. Sloth. You wouldn't think this, but truly the ability for, it says, entail different vices, physical and spiritual laziness. Okay, failure to do things that should be done. Okay, the definition of evil exists when people fail to act. Many times, the business owners refusing to act. Wrath, uncontrolled feelings of hatred or anger. This has a lot to do with business partners or family members or things. There's a lot of emotion associated. Envy, same thing. It's like greed and lust, but it's and jealousy. It's a discontent towards someone's traits, status, and abilities. Pride, once again, accomplishments of self-worth. These things, when a deal blows up, I can generally assign it to one of these things. So for me, can I sell your business? I don't know. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to do. There's not one piece to it. The main step is going to be what is the definition of your business, and what's your definition of win? I need to know what that is.